Hi. Before we start this video, I just thought I'd quickly explain that I'm adding some extra edits into the video because after I finished making the original video, I read some comments around YouTube and the web, and I thought this episode explained sort of Porsche's journey with trauma, but it doesn't seem like clear to everyone. And I think when I watched the video the first time, I didn't feel the need to explain Porsche's feelings and the trauma behind them. And, the things that really clarified that the bathroom scene was non-consensual. So I'm just going to do extra edits and put in the effort to clearly explain how I interpreted certain things in the scene or certain things that they put in the story that really explained Porsche's feelings. Because as a result of the romanticization of the bathroom scene, I feel like there's romance narratives already where people are confused that Porsche is heartbroken or is in some sort of like weird romantic love spell where Kinn is treating him badly and is ignoring that they, had passionate love and isn't addressing that as a relationship. I don't know what the interpretation is, but it feels pertinent that I go back on my edit and just clarify some of the things that I didn't say that I thought was obvious. So anyways, hi, I'm Edison.
I'm DC.
And welcome to Femmes React. Goodness gracious. Welcome back after last week. What a time we've had. If you're still here, thank you for joining us. I just want to say first, I really appreciate all the support that people have shown us and given us through your comments and through liking the video. And I think addressing that particular topic it always is gonna have some sort of like backlash, and so like it's pretty daunting sometimes to put yourself out there, but just knowing that there are people who appreciate the work, because it is a bit of work that we're doing, it is, it's just really nice to have. So I don't know, like if DC has any more to add on.
The only thing I was thinking about is that I think a lot of people are maybe looking at it, okay, this one BL and this one little incident and this one little scene, but they don't put it into context about the larger realm of BL and also how it affects us in the world. Because media contains a bunch of discourses. And when I talk about discourses, I don't mean what they mean in popular media with discourse as in conversations, but I mean discourses as in Foucauldian discourses. Like if you want more information about that, I suggest you read Michel Foucault's Discipline and Punishment, in which discourses, they are places of power. And these places of power of production. They create and recreate thoughts and just the way that they make images believable and make actions thinkable. And one of the discourses that last week really plays on is that Ken so far is been we know in BL, it's going to have to go both ways, but Ken so far has been coded as queer. Gay, he's queer. And Port is coded as straight. And what you have here is a gay man preying on a straight guy. He's a predator. And unfortunately, we see this throughout BL. One of the things that I keep talking about is Tarn Type, which I don't like. Maybe it's because Tam Kroon actually is an actor that was in Tarn Type, which is all why I'm always going back to it. But I also didn't like Tarn Type, not for one thing, but for it was like a basket of bullshit, because it didn't do trauma well, it didn't do consent well, and also it was domestic violence. Even in Tarn Type, with the consent, it was a gay man preying on someone who's straight. Same thing with Nitty Man. And you keep seeing this all over and over and over again. But okay, so what? But these thoughts, these images, not only create this idea about queer people, but also they reinforce this idea about queer people. And it also goes to support it, because then you also get in wider culture things like, oh, the gay panic defense and the trans panic defense, because straight people were being preyed on. And yeah, it's these things that are, or it's a wider thing. It has wider implications, because it upholds these ideas. And media, we're supposed to critique media, because media not only creates culture, but it creates culture. It tells us about itself, but also we create ourselves. And as a point, one of the points, we can critique it. But also, like I was saying last week, I mean, we can also enjoy media, problematic media, but we know why it's problematic. It's a bigger thing, and it's a bigger point to be made. But of course, if you just look at it, this one scene and one thing, sure, whatever. But I know also a lot of people were like, oh, the book is worse. I'm like, it's not a cover for shitty devices. And it's not an argument to all of a sudden make BL a Disneyfication of BL. Nobody wants a Disneyfication of BL. And in fact, I think BL is kind of unbelievable. A lot of this stuff is unbelievable to begin with. But being mindful of recreating these dangerous ideas about a marginalized people or marginalized person, that's about it.
Yeah.
I know that was kind of long.
No. No.
And it was kind of like...
Let's just all give applause to Disney. That was...
Yeah, it was too intellectual.
It was interesting because, like, I've always, I think there is an ambiguity with these characters at the start who are more straight-coded. And so, like, the other part of me is always thinking, no, they're queer in the end. But oftentimes these characters are they embody the gay for you thing. And it's sort of like they're straight until the point of they're in a relationship. And it's like, it complicates things because obviously there are people in real life that have those narratives or aren't like queer culturally, or have those things about them, you know what I'm saying, just like queer stereotypes or just like queer traits, and so like it's sort of hard to sort of navigate and describe that. But I have been thinking for this whole time that Porsche does come across very straight, but in the back of my head I know that he's not, so it's just confusing to articulate that sort of thing.
Of course, all this is constructed. We have to keep in mind it's, spatial and also temporal, and, different inside of different locations, the idea of queerness and heterosexuality is kind of different and wavering and things like that. That being said, it gets to be a point where it's like, okay, on one side, okay, sure, how their sexuality and how they're going and stuff like that. But my concentration is the person who is gay, who is really attracted to them, and how they are constructed as a predator because they're going after this person and they're going to change their ideas about what they want and about what their sexuality and make them love them. And they want them no matter what, even if they say no. That's where that problem comes in at. You get like straight guys who have that idea of like, oh no, that gay guy's going to try and get me and all this other kind of stuff. I can't be around gay guys and all this other kind of stuff. See, that is where all that comes in at. It's kind of like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie says about the problem with stereotypes and the single story. It's not that they aren't untrue, it's that they take the single story and make it the only story. And it is incomplete and it's non-textual, and that becomes the only thing. Like queer people become predator. They have no depth. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I have. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm usually the person on this channel that's like, yay. But sometimes things have to be said.
I'm the negative Nelly, is that it? I'm the one who brings things down. I think for me, last week is what DC alluded to is that it is part of a bigger picture and pattern. And so it's true, it's not necessarily that we're focusing on this incident in isolation. It's more about, you know, even with Porsche being drugged, the idea of him being able to consent ties into like a larger discussion about consent and assuming anyone who is under the influence of drugs or anything can consent, which is dangerous. And I think the issue specifically was them creating a romantic moment where Kinn was deciding if he was going to restrain himself or not, and then he assumed Porsche consented through the remembering of the kiss. And so I went on about that, but in a bigger picture, it's about a reflection of our attitudes. If that was applied to real life, you can never assume that, from Kinn's perspective. And so the pattern is, I think, not necessarily in just BL. In all media that encompasses romance, there's been incidences that contribute to what they call rape culture, and it's sort of obscuring, you know, the lines of assault. And we all have this idea that assault and rape is violent and forceful, but sometimes it doesn't look like that. It could just be quiet and confusing, or like romantic to the perpetrator because they're not aware that the other person feels a different way. The assumption is, you know, that it's a romantic context because of what we've learned. And so I think the bottom line for me is just when we have a victim blaming mentality, and, you know, there's history of telling girls in society how to behave and how to prevent rape. When people don't ask about why we're not teaching men not to rape, it's these narratives that reoccur in romantic fiction that are teaching men that actually certain things that are romantic aren't rape when they actually are. And so it's sort of that dialogue we need to have to reconstruct everything, you know? People learn that certain acts are consensual when they're not. It does tie into the whole cycle of things. And so it's not necessarily like, wow, KinnPorsche is awful because of this. It's more like we need to start progressing into a future where our romantic media in all genres don't perpetuate these lessons.
And I also saw one comment saying, well, no one talked about Game of Thrones or Euphoria. I'm like, they do. Like, people have written articles about Game of Thrones, about the sex and the gender, and also how about like black people are only there for slaves, and all this other kind of stuff. And they're writing stuff about Euphoria. And yes, all media gets critiqued, not just BL. And we're not just on this story. But then also, I think a lot of people may let it slide in BL because it's between two men. And we may be still thinking in the gendered way of, even when that's kind of being pushed with consent, with men and women and no means no and all this other kind of stuff, it maybe have still not gotten there in queer relationship because they see that, okay, well, the power is equal, and they don't understand how people can be of two gender, but then also like that the power is still not equal. And so maybe people are just letting it slide because of that, or whatever they are.
Why do I keep saying at the end of the day? I feel like I need more phrases. But like, I just think it's dangerous to celebrate the last scene, the bathroom scene, because then we're really diminishing the capacity for analysis and for like, I think, empathizing with people who are affected or triggered by this situation. So I think we need to be careful when we sort of go, wow, this was beautiful and all that stuff, because when people hear that, it's concerning.
Well, I actually stopped watching a lot of like Western romantic comedies because it wasn't romantic at all. It was like an asshole being abusive, and then it's just in that kind of shit. And so, but then also when I was watching a lot of that stuff, the types of relationships I was getting into and what I expected from relationships, you know, suffered. But I really think that we have to be aware. And like I said, once again, I'm not asking for a Disneyfication and everything's going to be great, grand, and groovy. And like there's no blood or anything like that. Or I think that BL can have all these great, rich storylines. And I know if you're just tuning in with us for KinnPorsche, I mean, I challenge you to go look at some of our other reaction videos and this other stuff in which we have other BLs bringing up these other themes, these questions of like right, wrong, change, social this, and family, and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, there are ways in which you can engage and do it.
Okay, so that was our PSA. Let's just get into the episode, I guess. I mean, like, there's a whole conversation. I think we said what was necessarily, and we can do what we can with just our limited platform. Hopefully it does validate, because part of the fear I have, and probably other people have, is just not thinking that there are other people out there who see the same concerns. Because even as a reactor, when I'm checking out other people's reactions, it does concern me that, this is a minority viewpoint. And so I'm kind of just like, what's going on here? Am I the problem? Like, it's just, I think when people do speak up, it just makes me feel better that I'm not overreacting.
Yeah, I don't really subscribe to being like in the popular viewpoint or anything like that. It just is what it is. You have to say what you have to say, as long as it's right.
Yeah, I have weak morality, I think.
I have a strong morality. I just am just like, whatever.
All right, let's get to episode 5 of KinnPorsche. From last episode, I am excited for Jeff and Porsche. Jeff, the actor, Kim, the Hannah Montana of the mafia world. I think he's pretty. That's all. I never really know about high school and adult relationships, but I don't know if it's a cultural thing, because Europe and other countries don't condemn it as much.
But also you have to ask, when is their age of consent? Because if they're, I don't want anyone younger than me. But if some of them people are age of 16, and if they're in high school, of last year of high school, and they're in the in college, then that's 17 and 19.
Right, because this one, I don't know what the age difference is, but that's kind of the least of my worries right now in terms of the rest of the show.
Yeah.
So some people were saying, how they'll judge the scene from how they deal with the aftermath, but I feel like the damage is done. I mean, it was cast in a romantic light, or directed in a romantic light. It's from what I've analyzed. I guess they could try and cover up that and backpedal.
มึงโดนมอมยาแต่พวกมันยังไม่ทันทำอะไรกูมาช่วยมึงได้ทันมันเป็นใครแล้วทำไมมันต้องเจาะจงกูวะกูไม่รู้มึงโอเคไหมพอชมึงออกไปก่อนเถอะกูให้มึงลาพัก1 วันไปอาบน้ำไป
Oh, he didn't even okay.
He didn't what?
He led Porsche to the bathroom to shower, and he didn't even get to shower. After all of that, Kinn looks remorseful. If you're remorseful, they're selling it as a lapse in judgment on Kinn's part, right? The thing is, if we want to believe that the show, and I'm saying if the show wants you to believe that Kinn knows that he did it wrong, then don't glamorize the act in the first place.
I think that he realizes that he did wrong after the fact.
So they were showing his perspective. Oh, like it was romantic in the moment, and then.
But then also seeing how it affects Porsche and how distant Porsche is. He's like, okay, I did wrong. You know.
I think the cynical part of me is just saying, you know, the part of the glamorization is also for the audience and for hype around the show. It does have a ratings and commercial benefit. Okay, so the thing I didn't really address in the after morning scene is how they skip around the question. People assume that Porsche's concerns are why he's being targeted and he's kidnapped. I saw that conversation as a way for Porsche to sort of like bait Kinn into explaining what happened to him. He gave him opportunities for Kinn to admit that something happened and to address it in that moment. And Kinn didn't. And so I think that was the beginning of when Porsche was kind of like, what the heck, dude? Like, do you not feel remorse? Or like, why did you do that? That's how I interpreted the scene. I don't think he cared that he was targeted. Actually, I think the subtext was, I get that people might be targeting me because I'm part of the mafia now, but why did you, someone who I trusted, do something to me, you know? And so maybe I'm overanalyzing that, but that's what I got there. Does he not trust his daddy? Mamma mia! What? Is there a phrase that translates to Mamma mia? That's so funny. I'm just imagining Mario. Like, I can't imagine anyone else saying Mamma mia. Gosh. Kim's hair is so pretty. Oh. He knows. He can tell. He's checking.
I mean, everything's still there, so he's just like, huh. Or does he know? No.
I didn't even know what we're meant to know that he knows. Like, we don't know if we trust Kim? Or the dad? There's just mystery. Oh my god, Porsche's like lifeless.
I'm just in love with the building. In love with these scenes.
We're like horny for architecture.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Is there a big battle happening? He just drank water. Like, oh. Do they know this much? Oh, that's a bold move, moving your queen there. Oh, okay, never mind.
Right?
He just did the...
No, but... Huh?
I think Kinn is just really bad at chess if he got like checkmated in 3 moves. But metaphorically it makes sense. He's too distracted to see the setup. Okay, I know the dad's trying to give him advice, but you're the one who gave him Porsche in the first place. I mean, like, he has a reason that he did that. I assumed it was to soften Kinn's heart, but maybe now it's too soft.
Maybe it was a test to see if he would be distracted or not.
A booty test. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's like, you're too weak for taking over my business.
You're gonna get asthmatized.
I was like, yeah, Porsche's there to like make Kinn less cold. To humanize him a bit. And he has been humanized a bit. But now he's just jelly. Love has made you weak. That's what it's done. Oh, he has this many koi fish and he knows which one's Sebastian and Elizabeth? That's impressive. Oh, is that teddy bears? Oh, that's so cute. What? I am like frothing internally because some people are like, Tom-kun doesn't read as queer, and I'm like, excuse me? I mean, like, fair enough, but...
พ่อไปก่อนนะลูก บ๊ายบาย Good night นะจ๊ะเบบี
เรียกกูมาไหมวะ
ถอดเสื้อออกถ่ายตัวไปกลับ100 รอบ
แล้วทำไมกูต้องท
Are you fucking dumb bro
ทำให้คนอื่นต้องวุ่นวาย โดนแค่เนี้ยยังน้อยไป
ำกูไม่ได้เมา กูโดน
That felt really, like, homely. I was like, I would hear that on the street, Perth.
Right. I felt like I was back in Australia.
I was like, did someone shout out my window? Like, what an authentic experience. I need to save that clip.
I just need him to just say, like, Nate in several different tones.
I just need him to call someone the C word. Oh, Perth, what a jam.
Are you fucking dumb bro
กูไม่ได้เมา กูโดนวางยา แล้วพวกมึงมีสิทธิ์อะไรมาสั่งกู
แล้วคนที่ทำผิด ก็ต้องโดนลงโทษ
This is his dad being like, be better, son.
Okay.
Does he, I guess he remembers bits of it.
Hot 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 มึงโอเคปะเนี่ย
No?
คุณคินเขาคงกลัวคนอื่นรู้สึกไม่ดีอ่ะ แค่นี้คนมันก็เอาไปพูดถึงไหนตอนไหนเล่า ไม่ต้องคิดมาก กูรู้ว่ามึงรู้สึกยังไง ครั้งแรกมันก็แย่แบบนี้แหละ
มึงก็เคยโดนเหรอวะ
คุณหนูก็เคยทำกับกู ครั้งก่อน คุณหนูแทนคุณ ให้กูนั่งเก้าอี้ลมเป็นวันๆ ไม่งเอ้ย
ครั้งแรกที่มึงบอก
Oh my god, I was so worried about Tam-kun. I thought he was referencing someone else. Gosh. Okay, look, the Pete and Porsche conversation I felt was like the most obvious in terms of, you know, showing where Porsche felt. You know, first it was like his panic attack or whatever it was in the bathroom. Him remembering the night, they weren't pleasant memories for him. And even if he does like Kin at this point, the point is that Kin violated his trust and did things without his consent. It's not internal homophobia. It's not gay panic. It's not him going, why do I enjoy this? Because the conversation with Pete clarifies any doubts. He assumes that Pete had also gone through sexual assault, and the subtext, the subversion is that Pete is saying, oh, I've gone through this multiple times, you know, I empathize with you, and this is something that he could identify with. But, you know, the build up for that was that there was a misunderstanding, but still the understanding is that in order for that joke to work, where it's more about the punishment of the physical exercise, there was an understanding that, or a misunderstanding that Pete has also been through the same thing, which is a rape. And so it's sort of like, it's one of the clearest sort of like evidences for me that the show and the writers are explicitly stating that Porsche feels traumatized by what happened to him, because he also showed concern for Pete, that Pete has gone through this before. I'm not too sure what other interpretations there are for that scene, but the smoking in this in this episode is for a way to de-stress because it's affected him this much. He's not feeling stressed or sad or heartbroken because Kin was like, I didn't love you. He's feeling like he's lost all autonomy, right? And so he feels like he has no control. Oh my god, I can't tell if this is the same twink, but I don't think it is. He looks different. Oh my god.
Set it on fire.
It's just so jarring sometimes. They've been like reduced to these enthusiastic kids, but they're also mafia people.
You can still have fun.
Yeah, but the way they're just kind of giddy is just really like jarring. Cause like everyone's just like, Pete is such a cinnamon roll, and then like last episode or the episode before he was like kicking the crap out of someone, and I was like, all right.
They just have range. They just have range. The range.
There's trauma, and then I guess there's guilt, and then there's that sort of further narrative of, you know, how that scene damaged them both. Okay, look, the parallel scene when they're both trying to have sex with someone else, I think when people interpret that as they're in love with each other, so they can't really do it with someone else, is mildly disturbing, personally, because that's not the case, and this is why I feel like you need to be responsible when you romanticize the assault, because the interpretation is now they're in love, but it's just not it. Like in this particular scene, Porsche is triggered now by sexual intimacy, or at least that's what I interpret. And Kin can't go through with it, not because he only wants Porsche now, because he feels guilty. He looked in the mirror. There was a reflection of him looking at himself, confronting the acts that he's done, the acts that he's reminded himself that he's done. And that's the point. Oh, you shouldn't really be trusting Vegas, but I mean, we know that, but I guess he doesn't.
Wait a minute. Vegas drug him?
Yeah, Vegas is the one who drugged him. But nobody knows. Not even the security camera footage, apparently. They didn't have any in the hotel room. Did Vegas do something to Kin? Did he shave off his sideburns? Like, how severe is it? I honestly don't know what's going on.
I mean, they're having like a little intimate bike ride.
Yeah, but we know Vegas is a creep.
We know that Vegas is a creep, but no one else knows that Vegas is a creep.
It's just so jarring to have this like sweet, gentle, you know, instrumental between them right now.
But it's unknown.
I swear Porsche was less drunk when he got on the bike. Building trust with Porsche, what an interesting move. From a villain's perspective, it's very interesting.
But there, I think also Vegas wants Porsche because Ken wants because he sees Porsche as Ken's.
Yeah, it's definitely some sort of like second family tactic.
I think it's a good move. I mean, he's not forcing him to do anything. Like
right?
From Porsche's perspective, like he doesn't know he's drugged him and stuff like that. However, he's like showed up, hey, ride the bike, and hey, let's do this. Where Ken has always been a little bit more thick, like a little bit like Vegas is more carrot, Ken's more stick, and just like punch it down.
Tactically, Vegas is doing an interesting play. Goodness gracious.
See, that kind of shit. Like Vegas didn't pull the gun on him.
Kin, as if you don't have any other bodyguards around you to help you.
แต่อย่างน้อยคนพวกนั้นก็ไม่เคยทำอะไรกูนะเว้ยมึงหาว่ากูทำลาย
Ooh.
มึงอย่าลืม ชีวิตมึง เป็นของกู กูจะทำอะไรก็ได้
ก็เอาเลยดิ เอาดิ ทำเลยดิ มึงรอเหี้ยอะไรอะ
ตั้งแต่พรุ่งนี้ ไอ้เคนจะมาเป็นหัวหน้าบริการดของกูแทนมึง
Okay, fine. I'd be like, all right, fine. You know, you cutting off your nose to spite your face, so whatever.
Okay, so this is probably the final scene that I'll address. It's the confrontation between Kin and Porsche after the night out with Vegas. Porsche was trying to bait Kin in a conversation. He was trying, essentially to me, he was trying to ask Kin, why did you do that? You know, as a friend, as someone I trusted, you don't care about me. Someone who cared about me wouldn't violate me in that way. Obviously, there's the irony that Vegas is the one that drugged him, and he's referring to, you know, at least Vegas, you know, cares about him to some extent. But this isn't about love. This is about the violation of trust, of care. Kin's acts assaulting Porsche when Porsche wasn't conscious is a violation of trust, a violation of their friendship, a violation of someone who, you know, you would care about someone. You wouldn't, if you cared about someone, you wouldn't do that. And so the conversation, Porsche is baiting Kin to kiss him because he wants to confront Kin about the type of person he is. He's kind of saying, do you not have any remorse? And if you don't, kiss me now. Treat me like an object. Treat me as the cold person that you're trying to come across as. Because Porsche knows that Kin has a soft side. And he doesn't understand why Kin would do that to him. So he's playing at Kin's guilt. Okay, I don't even know. Okay, they're definitely, I think, portraying Kin as complex. He has all these like sort of inner turmoils, you know, even with his attraction. And then having to, like, I get what they're trying to do with him. They're trying to make him this, like, flawed, sensitive, but he still needs to be, like, powerfully dominant.
He's never had to, he has twinks come to his bed on call and all this other kind of stuff. And it comes easy. And somebody who is just not as simple and as easy of him, like Porsche isn't like fawning over him and falling over him and saying, oh, take me, and, you know, even standing up to him and saying, you did me wrong. You know, he's not used to that, and he doesn't know how to react.
He doesn't know how to react.
The only way he knows how to react, and that's out of like, oh, well, I'll do this. Rough.
True. I guess he doesn't really know how to address, take accountability, apologize. I don't know, mend the relationship somehow.
But he's never
had to do that.
Had to learn how to use those
Fair enough.
tools.
Why do people randomly speak in English sometimes? Unless this dude doesn't speak Thai.
Sounds great. We have plenty of rooms here. We can put it all.
Thank you.
He could have just gone to Porsche's house. Like, this is extravagant.
He really wants to impress him.
He's getting close to Porsche.
คิม อ๋อ
วิกมันเป็นอีกด้านหนึ่งของพี่อะ
Oh,
จะเป็นด้านที่พี่ชอบมาก
that's cute. That's cool. So that's what if I become a superstar, it'll be from like DC to like
CD.
CD.
ถึงอยากเข้าดนตรีอะ
Yeah.
Okay, no. Porsche does seem way too young for this dude. Just like the attitude.
I think he's more starstruck.
Oh, okay.
And I think also Porsche, I think also Kim is doing this on purpose.
เห็นรูปในมือ
Having him in this place and introducing his life and stuff like that to overwhelm him. And he's kind of overwhelmed by everything around him.
I reckon give Porsche
มันไม่ได้ยากขนาด
2 more years in the oven. So I'm guessing we're gonna learn the mystery of Porsche through Kim, because he's the only one who's digging into it.
ขอยืมมือถือหน่อยดิ พอดีของเราแบตหมดอะ
อ๋อ ได้ครับ นี่ครับ
ขอบคุณ ต้องแต่งด้วยนะ
ครับ
No, I don't let anybody go anywhere with my phone. No. I don't even let people use my phone.
Gosh, if it's like a big celebrity I have a crush on, I'm like, take everything.
You want to know why? Because Viola Davis would never do that to me.
Porsche is such a baby. I kind of wish it was gameplay sometimes. You know, Porsche could just look at his phone and be like, you didn't call
Right.
anyone.
Like recent calls, no one. Okay.
วันนี้พอแค่นี้ก่อนแล้วกัน พอดีพี่มีธุระต้องไปต่อ
You didn't teach him anything.
ผม เพราะเธอ เพราะมีเธอ ไม่ว่าเธอ เรื่องที่ทุกข์ระทมตาว่าฉันก็จะก้าวไป แม้เมื่อไรแค่กอดฉันให้นานๆแม้ต้องทรมานก็ไม่เป็นไร
Oh, that's cute, but
ได้ไหมครับ
can people stick to just one instrument so I don't feel as bad about myself?
อ๋อ ได้ก็ไม่เป็นไร
ไปเขียนต่อให้จบด้วยอะ
Aw, they better keep that relationship pure and innocent. Oh my god.
Well, I think it may end up that way, even though Kim has like wants to use him for this and that and other thing. But I think he's slowly like, you know,
ฉันให้เวลาแกไปทบทวนตัวเอง1 อาทิตย์ กลับไปเป็นตัวเอง ไปอยู่กับน้อง
Wow, they can sell anything. Hot water system. Why not?
also I was thinking about I need to replace my shower head. This is one that came with it. I don't like it.
I didn't get all the flour on him.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I'm gonna replace you as my hair bodyguard. Then come look for you like a couple of days later.
นี่ไม่ใช่ว่าเพิ่งทำงานพลาด
Use your words.
แต่จริงๆแล้วที่เห็นในพอร์ตเป็นคนหัวร้อนแบบเนี้ย ข้างในมันอ่อนไหวมากเลยนะครับ ถ้าคุณคินอยากคุยกับมันดีๆ คุณคินต้องใจเย็นๆนะครับ
ขอบใจ
Okay.
I mean, if you come at somebody with anger and all this other kind of stuff, they're gonna respond to you that way. So that's why you have to come up with people like. That's why
I mean, maybe. If I was Ken, I'd be like, shut your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. You want to give me advice, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, nothing else is working.
Yeah. Ken, you can wait a whole week? Okay. This is awkward. Porsche could be like, I have friends over. And then Ken would be like, I get it.
เบียร์ให้กูแก้วหนึ่งดิ
Pour me a beer. What?
เฮ้ยมือตีนไม่มีแล้ว
She- Oh.
แต่งตัวดูดีนะครับเนี่ยนึกว่ามาเฟีย หรือว่า
Oh.
เพื่อนใหม่ที่ทำงาน ไอ้คุณหนูอะไรไม่ใช่เหรอที่แต่งตัวประหลาดอะวันนั้นเมาไวไปหน่อยโทษที
เพื่อนที่ทำงาน
แต่ว่าเจ้านายแม่งอะอย่างเหี้ยเลย
Uh-oh.
โอเค
แล้วก็ผักหมดแล้วผักอะอยู่ในตู้แช่ข้างล่างถ้าไม่มีก็ ขอบคุณมาก
มึงมาทำไมวะ
มึงยังถามมึงเหรอ กูพามึงกลับบ้านไง
But
ถ้าคุณคินอยากคุยกับมันดีๆ คุณคินต้องใจเย็นๆนะครับ
ว่าถ้าเป็นเมื่อก่อนนะ กูก็คงพูดแบบนั้นแหละวะ แต่ว่า กูก็เข้าใจเว้ยว่า มึงลาพักอยู่
เข้าใจแล้วกลับไปดิ
แต่มึงต้องกลับกับกูแล้วมึงจะเมื่อไหร่อะ
Trying.
oh my god, this is a caricature. Like, Kin. What? Be a real person. What the heck?
แต่มึงไม่เคยแคร์กู มึงไม่เคยแคร์กู
ถ้ากูไม่แคร์มึง กูจะมานั่งตรงนี้เหรอวะ
He's trying. I'm not saying that, like, but I see that he's trying.
กูขอโทษ
มึงมาคนเดียวปะ
กูมาคนเดียว
งั้นแปลว่าเรามีแขก
Oh, okay, Kin, get careless. Why not? Oh my god, Kin. As if not take bodyguards with you.
สัญญาณชีวิตคินอยู่แล้วนะครับ
I love how Arm is the IT guy.
It's because of glasses.
Yeah. I mean, it just adds to his sexiness, so. Okay, well, things have escalated quite quickly. Wait, Big?
Ooh.
Okay, well, he's still alive. Right? Right? Your arm just healed, bro. No. Oh my god, is that Perth? Don't kill Perth. Oh, Perth.
Yeah.
What's the game plan here? Like,
But he said the 10 best men. There's only 5.
whoa! Okay, yep, alright. Daddy Guard is Daddy Guard for a reason.
He's not playing around.
Oh! Oh, that
Yeah, but that's never good when you shoot the driver in the back of the head and the truck is moving.
that's okay. It just breaks
Oh,
on
and
its
it
own.
stop.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
I think they just crashed.
ผมตามรอย GPS ของมือถือของคิน ไปจนถึงตรงที่ทางรถผ่าน แต่ไม่เจอร่องรอยสองนั้นเลยครับ
จากนี้เราจะค้นหากันตลอด 24 ชั่วโมงจนกว่าจะเจอ ไม่ว่าสองคนนั้นจะอยู่ในสภาพไหนก็ตาม
Dude, Daddy God is kind of smoking. I mean, everyone's hot in this show, so whatever. Thank God we got some action. Like, I enjoyed the action sequence. I enjoyed the sort of like suspense and the thrill of them getting kidnapped and the mystery. We don't know if they're okay. I thought they'd be okay, but I guess they're not. That was fun and interesting. So I like the plot element of this show. I mean, I think the big thing, obviously, is how they handled last week, I guess, and you know, the fallout from last week. And I am probably not the best person to sort of like judge and analyze and kind of like go into how you kind of follow that situation up. I think we understand that Kin had a lapse of judgment, or that he's very complex and he regrets his actions. He didn't get to apologize for it yet because of the kidnapping, but we know that he wants to, I guess. what's important is that we did see that, you know, what happened to the victim, Porsche. We saw how it affected him. And ultimately it was wrong. At least, you know, we got that. I mean, I hope that's what they sort of like inferred, and what the audience will get is that it was wrong. It doesn't make me not question, you know, the intent of glamorizing it in the first place, you know, to do it for views, clicks, money, excitement, whatever. But I think in terms of like bare minimum, they've sort of like achieved that. There is a risk, I guess, when you do try and set up empathy for the perpetrator. But in this case, at least they did give us the victim's perspective. I don't know what else to say like to the situation. I'm not informed enough to kind of delve into the right way to do this. So I don't know.
With all this kind of stuff, and especially in the real world, it has to be victim-led. It can't be like people from the outside saying, okay, this is what to... It has to be victim-led and a bit victim-centered. And so I'm taking my view from that and looking at, unfortunately, even though he's a imaginary person, a fictional person, it has to be victim-led, and it has to be how Porsche reacts and things like that, and how the victim is affected by it. I feel that Porsche did kind of bring it up because he was like, well, you know what? Vegas doesn't hurt me. He doesn't hurt people and stuff like that and all that kind of stuff. And that's activity to be talked about, but, you know, violence popped off and stuff like that. Also, one of the things that seeing that it was like a thing of passion was, and I thought I even laughed at it when it's that, oh, there's a situation that maybe everybody does this. No, it was just something that was unique to happen between Porsche and Ken. So it's not like a systemic thing that happens throughout this universe or throughout the bodyguards or throughout the main family. They don't go around using that. So that's why it was and can be seen as, I don't want to say a crime of passion, but a lapse of judgment, and it was a type of thing right there. And then even afterwards, it was showing that the night was something, because for them both having sexual partners afterward, that night did have an effect on both of them. And so it wasn't just something that it meant something. It was something. So I think that it's also funny that like Ken is trying to be different, and he's open to being different, because you have to be open to taking advice. As far as Vegas doing a nice move. I like the move about like when catching more flies with honey. I'm very interested to see what happens next.
The scene where they showed how they were both affected by the night does risk a little bit of, you know, like comparing that the guilt what is equal to the pain, and I like that is a risk when they're doing that sort of side by side. You know, the priority does need to be taken with Porsche. Like, yeah, we understand that Kin has guilt, but it should never really take precedence over Porsche's focus in the story, I think, in terms of that. But narrationally, I do think we got a lot of Porsche's perspective. I think they'll eventually address it with Kin hopefully apologizing, and that they can come to some sort of understanding. But yeah, what the actor did do really well for Porsche is just, I think, show the contrast of like a before and after, and then the after he's just so defeated and so like lost. I mean, if people think there are more things they could have done to, I think, rectify what they did last week, let us know, because that's justifiable. Like,
the thing about anything that's traumatic and stuff like that, and this is going back to turn time, stuff like that. It's not an event. It's more of a process that you have to go over and things like that. And just to say, okay, this event happened, and then, all right, next week we tie it all up in a nice bow and then go on. It is, of course, it's fictional, but it's disingenuous, it's crap, and I think that does even more harm if you just tie it up real quick than actually understand that this is a process, and this is what we're going to have to be doing, and it slowly plays out. Seeing it start to play out and slowly playing out over a process of a couple of episodes or whatever is actually a little bit more genuine. It is more, it's less harmful than, because if you think that, okay, something happens and then you're over it the next day, that's not how trauma works at all. And that's not realistic. And then people can start to say, oh shit, I should be over this. And that's more hopeful. Them maybe taking this longer to take it out, I can appreciate more than just saying, all right, this happened last episode, this episode we're getting over it. Because that's just not how any of that works. That's not how mental health works. And I know this is fictional, but it has to be a little bit more realistic.
I think in conclusion, I don't necessarily think I can judge what they did, but at least they're not sweeping it under the rug. At least they're addressing it in some sort of way, and showing Porsche's perspective very clearly. I don't think it excuses what I saw as glamorization of the last episode, but it's probably better than, I guess, how other shows have done it, where they've just kind of gone, oh, it was romantic full stop. At least here it's like something bad happened.
Oh, right. And like I said last week, and I've said before, I can't judge KinnPorsche until it's over with, until the whole story is done. We're not even halfway through to say, okay, this is a good way of dealing with it, or a bad way of dealing with it, because we won't know how until it's over.
Anyways, but I think that's it for us. I mean, let us know how you interpreted this episode, if you think it's helped last week. Support this channel and this video by giving it a like and giving us your thoughts, and if you haven't subscribed to us already, and we'll see you next week for the next episode of KinnPorsche.
Also, we're over on Twitch.
Twitter. Oh,
Twitter.
this is also on Twitch.
We're on Twitter, so you can say hi to us over there and follow us.
Yeah, help us grow and be a bigger fish in the pond, and I don't know. We don't have to be
a bigger koi.
A bigger koi.
But don't pee in our pond.
Don't pee on unless we ask for it.
Consent.
Okay, bye.
Bye. See you later.